Okay, for today's business matters. Chipmaker Micron Technology said today that it's expanding its U.S. investment to about $200 billion. The company plans to spend $150 billion on chip manufacturing. Micron said this adds another $30 billion to its earlier plans, and this sent its shares down about 1% in pre-market trading. Micron is now one of many U.S. tech companies investing big in the country, and this comes as President Trump pushes to make more semiconductors in the U.S. Micron's additional investment will center around building a second leading-edge memory fab in Boise, Idaho. The company will also expand a manufacturing facility in Manassas, Virginia. Micron said that its investment aims to bring advanced packaging capabilities to the U.S. It's a key process used in making high bandwidth memory for AI. Now, cartwheeling for joy over the company's back to Starbucks turnaround strategy. That's what former CEO Howard Schultz said when he heard about the current CEO Brian Niccol's plan. Schultz gave his seal of approval during a surprise appearance at the company's leadership event. When Niccol first took the reins, he laid out his comeback plan for the coffee house to get back to its roots. This includes bringing back seating inside cafes, to writing personalized messages on cups. Niccol is trying to lift slumping sales and improve service. Meanwhile, the reviews are in on Warner Brothers Discovery splitting up its company. Credit rating agency Fitch Ratings has downgraded Warner Brothers Discovery's bonds to junk status. This comes after the company announced it's dividing into two publicly traded companies. One will be home to Warner Brothers Pictures, DC Studios, and HBO Max. The other will serve its legacy cable channels, including CNN and TNT. Analysts explained that they believe WBD will become smaller and less diversified in a declining industry. Now, earlier on the deadly crash in India of a Boeing 787 jet, Boeing has sold more than 2,500 787s, including 47 to Air India. This was the first fatal accident involving this type of plane. NTD Sean Marshall has more on this.
More than 200 people were killed when an Air India plane bound for London with 242 people on board crashed minutes after takeoff. It was reportedly the world's worst aviation disaster in a decade. It was the first fatal accident involving the 787 line of Boeing aircraft.
We are actively working with the authorities on all emergency response efforts. A special team of caregivers from Air India is on their way to Ahmedabad to provide additional support. The investigations will take time, but anything we can do now, we are doing.
The 787 creation marked a breakthrough in design, promising 20% greater fuel efficiency through the use of durable, lightweight composite materials and more electric systems. The 787 also pioneered a new way of building planes, outsourcing much of the structure and components to companies around the world and assembling the pieces in Everett, Washington, and later North Charleston, South Carolina. But after experiencing problems in the supply chain, Boeing acknowledged it had gone too far with outsourcing. The timing of the crash comes as Boeing heads to the Paris Air Show. It is the largest air show and aerospace industry exhibition event in the world. It follows a blockbuster month of sales for Boeing in May, which included booking 303 new orders and rolling out 38 new 737 MAX jets, a production rate the company has been working to reach for more than a year. Boeing also delivered 45 aircraft last month. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
Essentially found in separate aisles since its 2017 acquisition, Whole Foods will now be stocked closer to Amazon's grocery unit. When the tech giant bought Whole Foods Market, the chain mostly maintained its independence. But under a reorganization announcement, Amazon said that Whole Foods corporate employees will be joining its programs, such as pay and benefits. Amazon's grocery chief explained in a memo that the previous system led to duplicate efforts and failed to make the most of its employees. This is Amazon's latest effort to consolidate and streamline its grocery operations. In addition to Whole Foods, Amazon owns Amazon Fresh supermarkets and Amazon Go convenience stores. And Costco members holding an exclusive membership can expect some added benefits to start, and it's going to come later this month. The retailer says executive members will have extended shopping hours starting June 30th. Locations will now open at 9 a.m. for those upper-level members and remain open an extra hour on Saturdays for all members. Executive members will also receive a $10 credit each month for same-day or Instacart orders of $150 or more. And here's the first ever Starbucks Global Barista Champion. Nobuki Shimoda, a store manager from Japan, celebrating after winning the coveted title in Las Vegas on Wednesday. He beat out 11 other baristas in the coffee chain's intense three-day competition, a group that came from an original field of 84,000. Challenges in the event included making the perfect latte, art tulip, or correctly guessing a coffee roast using only smell and taste. As Starbucks' first Global Barista Championship winner, he'll get to visit all 6 of its roastery reserves, and he gets the chance to co-create a beverage that will be served in Starbucks in the future. Now, some good news for consumers. Inflation is slowing. The Consumer Price Index shows overall prices ticked up only slightly from April to May, but many Americans are still pulling back on spending. Here's the story.
Inflation appears to be cooling. The Consumer Price Index report shows overall prices ticked up 0.1% from April to May, and overall prices are 2.4% higher than a year ago. The CPI measures how much items change in price on average per month, things like food, energy, and housing costs.
This is good news.
Bankrate financial analyst Stephen Cates says the last 2 CPI reports indicate the economy is improving.
We've seen 2 consecutive downside surprises with much cooler inflation.
Overall, food prices and housing costs went up 0.3% from April to May, but energy prices went down by 1%. Gas prices are down 2.6%.
Lower oil costs are certainly trickling down into the gasoline prices, which is amazing news for consumers.
Even though President Donald Trump rolled back many of the tariffs he implemented earlier this year, the trade war between the U.S.'s biggest trade partners caused fewer items to be imported, and there were concerns that could cause a supply shortage and drive up prices. While that hasn't happened, Kate says consumers appear to still be concerned about how much things cost.
People may be a bit wary about what costs could become.
The National Retail Federation, who spoke about the impact tariffs are having on spending habits before this report was released, confirms consumers have been pulling back.
It's still not clear to consumer what exactly is hitting their wallet and when. They may have seen some price increases, but they know that the environment remains uncertain.
And recent reports show consumer sentiment is low among Americans.
Facebook parent Meta is suing a Chinese company that keeps running ads on Facebook and Instagram despite violating its rules. The lawsuit is against Joy Timeline HK Limited, and this is the developer of the Crush AI app. This Nudify app takes an image of a person and uses artificial intelligence to create a sexualized, non-consensual image. Meta says the ads were repeatedly removed for violating its policies, but Meta says the Hong Kong-based company made multiple attempts to get around the company's ad review process to continue advertising. The social media giant said it filed the lawsuit to stop Joy Timeline from continuing its ads on its sites. And shares of Oracle hit a record high today, surging more than 14% to top the $200 mark for the first time after the company raised its annual revenue forecast. Here's more.
The positive outlook was driven by strong demand for its AI-related cloud services. Confidence in the software sector remains strong despite geopolitical tensions. Oracle offers cloud services that help companies build their AI infrastructure. And earlier this year, it announced a joint venture called Stargate to deliver large-scale computing capabilities to OpenAI. One investment advisor said Oracle has ditched its once stodgy image to become a key player in artificial intelligence. Analysts at Piper Sandler put it this way, quote, Oracle has entered an entirely new wave of enterprise popularity that it has not seen since the internet era in the late 90s. Cloud services revenue jumped 14% in the quarter, while sales overall topped estimates. At least 9 brokerages raised their price targets on the stock following the release of the results.
Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang told CNN that the company will exclude the Chinese market from its revenue and profit forecast. And this comes after the imposition of tough U.S. restrictions on chip sales to China. Now, when asked whether he thought the U.S. would lift export controls after trade talks with China in London this week, Huang said that he's not counting on it. Chip exports limits have cost Nvidia $2.5 billion in sales during its fiscal first quarter. It reported $4.6 billion in revenue from H20 chip sales in China as customers stockpiled the chips before the curbs set in. The China business accounted for 12.5% of overall revenue. And as trade talks continue between the U.S. and Japan, a Japanese energy company has signed long-term deals for liquefied natural gas from the U.S. Here's more.
Diversifying its energy supply. Japan's largest power generation company has agreed to new supply deals for U.S. liquefied natural gas. JERA plans to buy as much as 5.5 million metric tons a year from U.S. suppliers. This will be under 20-year contracts. The total is a combination of previously reported deals and new agreements. Japan is the world's second largest importer of LNG, after China. The move illustrates Japan's efforts to maintain a stable and flexible LNG supply to strengthen energy security and meet growing demand from data centers. The announcement comes amid ongoing trade talks between Japan and the U.S. It improves the trade balance and boosts President Trump's efforts to expand LNG exports. But JERA CEO Yukio Kani stressed that the decisions were purely private sector and had no government pressure. Kani said the agreements were rooted in the importance of having a cost-competitive and flexible LNG supply. Deliveries of the LNG will start around 2030.
Okay, if you like ramen, how about pickle-flavored ramen? So yeah, that's actually a thing now. Insta ramen maker Cup Noodles is releasing a new dill pickle version, hoping to capitalize on the pickle trend that's taking over social media, apparently. So the new product combines the flavors of noodles with the tangy and sour taste of a pickle in a microwavable cup. Cup Noodles dill pickle goes on sale for a limited time starting June 1st. And a market research firm executive says several factors are fueling the growing popularity of pickle-flavored foods. One is the flexibility to make the bold, tangy taste of a pickle either sweet or spicy. All right, onto markets now. S&P 500 rose today, which was lifted by optimism in the artificial intelligence area after Oracle raised its annual revenue forecast due to strong AI demand and sending its shares to record highs. Other major tech firms like Microsoft, Nvidia, and Broadcom also gained. The S&P 500 ended the day about just 2% below its February record highs. And Goldman Sachs lowered its U.S. recession risk from 35% to 30%, citing easing uncertainty around Trump's tariff policies and expectations of new trade deals. And that's it for today's Business Matters.